Hi guys, if you've been watching any of my videos, you know that I love my proportion tool. So I wanted to come on and show you how you can use it with portraiture, how you can use it with a live model, and also how you can use it with photo reference. It's a really handy tool. If your drawing skills aren't the best, then the proportion tool is going to help you to improve your drawing skills. It's a really great weapon. I can't live without it. What you're going to see next is a short clip from my new, free, full-length tutorial, 3 Ways to Start a Portrait. I'll leave a link in the description where you can grab your free video today. And it needs to be the exact same size as the head you plan to paint on your canvas. You'll need a proportion tool to perform one-to-one measuring. Make sure the head on your screen or your printout is exact same size to be painted on your canvas. Remember that our measurements on the computer are exactly the same as the measurements are going to be on our canvas. So if you're working from a computer screen, make sure that you're zoomed in to the exact same size of face as what you have on your canvas. And that if you're using a printout, make sure that the printout is the exact same size as the face that you're going to be painting in your portrait. They have to be equal to be able to do one-to-one measuring with your proportion tool. It can be helpful to jot down the percentage of your zoom if you're using the computer. So if you want to zoom in really close to a feature so you can see it big, then you know to zoom back to that certain percentage level, and you've got it written down so you won't forget. I am going to show you how we are going to use the proportion tool to draw Mr. Potato Head. So he's about 2 feet away from me, and what we're going to do is we're going to scale him down. You could choose to do one-to-one measuring where we draw him at the same size, but I wanted to show you how if you're drawing, say, from a live model and you want to make her a little bit smaller than life size, you can scale down with your proportion tool, or you could choose to do a one-to-one measurement as well. So if you want to scale something up, then you just flip it so that you're doing the measuring with the small end, and then you're transferring the larger bit to your canvas. We're going to reverse it. We're going to put the smaller part on our paper. So I'm going to start with Mr. Potato Head's eyes. When you're measuring with your proportion tool, it's good to close one eye, and you want to have your elbow straight. And I want to hold the proportion tool parallel to my subject, in this case, Potato Head. So this was the actual size that I saw between the eyes. This is where I am making it smaller, so I know if I put a dot here and a dot there, that is the width of the eyes of Mr. Potato Head. Now let's find out where the center of Mr. Potato Head's eye needs to be. And these measurements are, not so perfect, but they're gonna get us super duper close. So let's see, how tall should Mr. Potato Head's eye be? So we're just going to line that up. So these 4 points are going to make his eye on the left, and here is going to be the other eye on the right. So I just connect my dots because I see that Mr. Potato Head's eyes are an oval shape, so I can do that. And then I'm going to just eyeball in his pupils. So there's one pupil, and the other pupil is directly across on the other side. There's pupil number 2. Okay, next measurement I'm going to get, now there's no set way of how what features you want to measure next. So I'm going to put the eye in the center of this measurement, and I know the width of Mr. Potato Head is right there. So that's how wide his head is at the side of the eyes. And now I want to see from the eye, where is the top of his hat? And I'm going to go right from the center of the eye to the top of the hat. So from this point to this point is the top of his hat. Now that's the top of it. So let's find the bottom of the hat. How far from that top point do I go down to find the bottom of Mr. Potato Head's hat? Right there. Now let's see, how wide is Mr. Potato Head's hat? And it's about right there. And this is, you know, kind of eyeballing it there. And then we'll see that the shape is rounded. So I'm just going to sketch that part in where I connect the dots. And then I'll just go ahead and put in the outline of his hat that I see here. And he's got a little brim on his hat, so I'm just gonna lightly sketch that in there. And he's got another little band, hat band, kind of there. Now, how wide is Mr. Potato Head's head just below his hat? And it's about there. So I know I can come down like that and we're getting our potato. So I want to see how far down do I go to get to the ear on the left. It's about that point there. Now how long is the ear? I'm closing one eye and I'm keeping my elbow locked straight when I make my measurement. And I'm seated, so I know I'm not moving, so I'm in exactly the same position each time I measure. And you have to make sure you hold your proportion tool in the same parallel position as well. So there's his ear. And I can see a little bit of the top of it. I'll just make note of that. And he's got a little form right there. So let's get the other ear, which is tilted a little bit towards me. So it comes down to about right there. Now let's see, how long is it? Comes down to about right here. And I can tell you how wide it is from the side of his head, comes out to here. So we'll just look at what we've got and connect it like so. You can see the top of his ear, but not the bottom. You can see a little bit of this edge here. There we go. There's his other ear. Now I'm gonna look at the space in between his nose and his eye. And it's about there. Now his nose is angled in this direction. So I'm just going to make note of that angle like so. And now I'm going to look for the width of the nose. So I'm in the same angle, and we're just lining that up. So his nose is about the same, comes out to about the side of his eyes. So I think that's a good position there. Let's see how far down his nose goes before we get to his mustache. And it's a sideways horizontal oval shape that his nose is making. There we go. Now, how wide is his mustache? I'm looking at the two widest points, and I know it's about right there to there. And how far down do we go? About right there. So it kind of has a little rounded shape there, and it comes up to about halfway of the nose, like so. And if I draw a line across in our angle, it's going to go there. And there's the rest of our mustache. Now he has a tiny bit of mouth here, which I'm just going to eyeball in because it's really tiny. And I can just see it with my eye. And a little bit there. And then there's his tongue. And then he has a white bottom lip, like that. And then there's a little bit more mustache coming out right here. And I can see that there's a little triangle right here that's his skin before you get to his pant. Now, how far out from Mr. Potato Head's mustache on the right do we go? We go out to about right there. Now I want to see how far down, just to the right of his right eye. So I'm looking at the base of his hat to the top of his pant. If I drew a straight line down, it's going to come up to right about there. Let's see how far down we go before we get to his pant bottom. So I'm going to just color in this mustache, since that's such a dark, bold piece. We can see more of what's going on with his mouth. And then there's a bit of a shadow underneath the nose, so I can see that. We'll highlight there, like that, and then we can get his dark hat put in. So there we have Mr. Potato Head's hat. So how far down from the bottom of the left ear do we go before we get to his hand? About right here. And how far out from the side of his body? Goes to about right there. So we can eyeball in his hand. And it's kind of angled in this direction. There's little fingers. And there we have one hand. Now how far down does his arm come from the bottom of that right ear? About right there. It comes, gets a little bit wider, like so. And I can tell you, his hand goes down to about right there. So we've got his finger, this finger, and this finger is kind of going back in space. And he's got a little thumb poking out there. Negative space here. His feet touch there, and we can check that. Let's check it. Let's look from the bottom of the nose up a little bit higher. There we go. And how wide are Mr. Potato Head's feet from about the middle? So we have that. are they at the Mr. Potato Head hip? Where are his hips? Probably didn't think of Mr. Potato Head as having hips. So his legs come out about right there, and he's got a little boot on, so that's that. And this boot is coming out behind his hand there. And voila. We have our Mr. Potato Head as measured with our proportion tool. So in reality, if I show you how tall Mr. Potato Head is, he's this tall compared to our potato head. So there you have it. Potato head with proportion tool.